Hello guys, how's everyone? Welcome back to Empower Tutorials, your favorite channel. And this is Master Teacher Dr. Sonam for you all. So yes, how's everyone? How's everyone doing? Are we all studying, going with the syllabus, with the class? Yes? Okay. So what we've studied in our past classes, we've studied about the cell cycle, basic terminologies, we've studied about what cell cycle is, about what mitosis is, about what meiosis is, correct? So now today we are going to be studying about what is genetics. Okay, now this is this is a chapter that many of our students say that, ma'am, we find it really difficult. Okay, but I assure you 200% that this chapter is the easiest of all, and you all are very fond of marks, right? So this chapter is going to fetch you the maximum marks. Okay. At least kuch nahi to it's going to fetch you around 6 to 7 marks in your exam. It is a very easy chapter, but to make it very easy for you all need to understand the first session that we are going to have today very nicely, very thoroughly. If you understand the first part of the chapter nicely, people usually find the later parts of the chapter little difficult to understand. But I assure you that if you understand today's lecture thoroughly, you will feel that this is the easiest chapter of entire biology, trust me. So please pay attention, get every terminology completely thoroughly cleared within your mind, and let's make things easy for ourselves. Okay, so yes, let's go ahead with genetics. Today we are going to have the first session of genetics, and we probably will have another 2 sessions to complete the entire chapter. All right, so stay tuned. And yes, let's start with a positive quote. Every accomplishment starts with the decision to try. So this is a very nice quote which is suiting today's chapter also. So people, just go through the chapter and they're like, oh my god, things look complicated here, let's skip it, or it's difficult. So this is a very easy chapter, like I've told you all. जब तक try नहीं करोगे समझने का, how will you achieve that accomplishment कि yes, this chapter is fit pad in my mind, I can write and answer anything from this chapter. You need to at least try, right? Give it some try. समझने की कोशिश करो, solve करने की कोशिश करो, and then if you don't understand, then you can try learning it, but at least try. So until and unless you try, you will not achieve what you want, right? We've heard the quote, right? Try till you succeed. We've heard this, right? Try but don't cry, right? So yes, keep trying and don't cry over that, कि okay ये नहीं जम रहा है. Try करो, सब अपने आप जमेगा. Okay, yes class, chalo, let's go ahead. Now, we've studied about what is a gene. We studied about what is a gene in the last class that we have seen when we studied about what is DNA, what is RNA. So we have also seen what is a gene. What we saw was that ये जो हमारा DNA का double helical structure है, उसका एक segment जो रहता है, that is a gene, right? So now gene is the functional unit of inheritance. Functional unit of inheritance. In simpler terms, just remember gene is a segment of the DNA. Okay? A functional unit of inheritance means what? Gene is that substance or that factor or that object or that part which identifies later on your characters and your features that match or do not match with your parents or with your extended family. So that is what is genes. Inheritance means what? Inheritance means what you're inheriting from your parents or family or siblings or cousins, right? So gene is something that is useful to study what and how much you are inheriting. Now, what is genetics? Of course, genetics is the study of genes. So genetics is the study of inheritance. Okay. Now, what happens is ये जो हमारा DNA है, DNA बाद में convert होता है into RNA. RNA gets converted into amino acid chains or proteins. Okay. Now, this conversion of DNA to proteins takes place by a few complex procedures known as transcription, translocation, translation, right? So don't bother about these processes for now. These processes are important to you from 11th, 12th point of view. So वो जब आएगा तब देख लेंगे, तब पढ़ लेंगे. For now, just remember that जो DNA रहता है, उसके अंदर का जो genes रहता है, वो with the help of some complex procedures gets converted into proteins. Okay. Now these proteins are like information. Okay, these proteins are like information which your genes carry. जो सेगमेंट्स है छोटे छोटे आपके डीएनए के जिसको हम जीन्स बोल रहे हैं, उसमें ये जो प्रोटीन रहता है इज लाइक अ इंफॉर्मेशन. ओके, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, फॉर इंस्टेंस, योर जीन, योर से स्किन कलर का जो आपका जीन है विच इज जीन 1, विच इज फॉर द स्किन कलर सपोज, उसमें अगर 20% protein comes from your father, 80% protein comes from your mother, which means 20% जो data है या जो information है is coming from your father of the skin color and 80% is coming from your mother. So because more is coming from your mother, your more resemblance of the skin color will be like your mother. Okay, this is just a rough example of what I want to explain to you of what information and protein that I'm talking about that the gene carries. Okay, are we clear with this? Now, so like what I mentioned to you all just now, that the genes is carrying some information. Okay, so this information needs to be exactly transferred. जैसा information A में है वैसा ही information ditto B में copy होना चाहिए. ठीक है? That copying that takes place is known as DNA duplication or DNA replication. Correct? And then that process goes ahead, which gets converted to proteins, what we just saw. So ये जो copy हो रहा है information का, data का, proteins का, DNA का, ये जो copy हो रहा है, इसमें अगर slight change भी आता है, slight change भी अगर आता है, तो that slight change is known as mutation or variation. It is known as mutation or variation. Okay, वो जो sequence रहता है, okay, what we studied last time was that DNA pairing जब होता है, so we saw that A pairs with T and G pairs with C. Okay, so by mistake if A pairs with C and T pairs with G, so ये जो गड़बड़ गलती हो रही है, that is known as mutation. Okay, so a mutation is any change that occurs in our DNA sequence either due to mistakes when the DNA is copied. Okay, तो ये copying में जो problem हो रहा है, that is known as mutation. Now, these mutations can be inherited also. Suppose this problem has happened in your parents, it can be inherited to you also. Okay, so ये जो mutation या जो changes होते हैं DNA और genes में, it can also sometimes lead to some chromosomal abnormalities. Okay, so ये जो problems होते हैं ये inherit भी हो सकते हैं आपको from your parents or your extended family, right? See, अब इसमें भी यही दिखा रहा है कि ये जो सीक्वेंस है ये सीक्वेंस ओरिजिनल कॉपी ऐसा होना चाहिए जो यहाँ पे दिखा रहा है कि अगर ग्रीन आएगा तो इट इज अ करेक्ट कॉपी, बट यहाँ पे आ रहा है रेड, दैट मीन्स इट इज अ म्यूटेंट कॉपी, मतलब म्यूटेशन हो रहा है क्योंकि कुछ सीक्वेंस चेंज हो रहा है. ओके, हियर यू सी इट शुड बी ब्लू, हियर a red part has come here, which means there is a variation here. Correct? Just have a look at this video. See how this part is changing. Now there is something else that is fitting there. In place of blue and red, there is yellow and green which is coming. अब ये पूरा जीन सीक्वेंस उस एक चेंज की वजह से पूरा जीन सीक्वेंस चेंज हो जाता है. Got it? So that is mutation. Okay. Now what is the significance of variation? अब ये जो mutation, variation या ये जो changes हो रहे हैं इसका significance क्या है? ये क्यों हो रहा है? और अगर हो रहा है तो how is it helping us? ठीक है? Okay, kids, I'm sure you all must have seen this famous cartoon that is The Simpsons, right? So I have put this picture here to give you all an example. So now tell me, don't all the characters of the Simpsons family look very alike? Yes, बहुत सिमिलर दिखते हैं, राइट? नाउ लाइक वी आल्सो लुक लाइक आवर पेरेंट्स, बट हम एग्जैक्टली सिमिलर नहीं लगते. सो ये लोग भी जो है दे आर लुकिंग सेम, बट दे आर नॉट लाइक एग्जैक्टली डिट्टो डिट्टो सिमिलर ना. ऐसा एवरीबडी अगर सिमिलर होता और देयर वुड हैव बीन नो वेरिएशन, देन एवरीबडी वुड लुक लाइक ईच अदर, मतलब वी वुड नॉट बी एबल टू डिस्टिंग्विश बिटवीन टू पीपल. करेक्ट? सो now how this significance of variation, how this significance is actually playing an important role. Now, why I've put the picture of a giraffe here is there is a story behind these long-necked giraffes. So earlier, these giraffes were not long-necked; they were short, just like any other animal, like goat, sheep, dog, whatever. Okay, so even they were short and stout. So what used to happen was, because they couldn't reach the big trees or the leaves, the giraffes used to die. because they were not getting food, right? उनका height इतना नहीं था कि ऊपर पहुंच सके, and they pluck leaves from the plants or fruits or whatever. Okay, so they used to die. So because of this, what was happening was giraffes were not surviving. Okay, giraffes were not surviving because they were dying because they were not getting food. Then what happened was, over a period of time, what was noticed was that the new evolution of giraffes, what they did was they tried to stretch their neck a little and they tried to reach to the plant. Okay, थोड़ा सा neck stretch करके they tried to reach to the plant. So ये जो stretch of neck आया ना उनके genes में, that kept getting inherited. तो वो genes या वो family के बाद that character kept getting inherited in all the other generations that came later of the giraffes. So because of this tribe, because of this slight stretch, this became a part of their character. मतलब ये एक variation आ गया उनके original gene characters में से. It was a variation. They were originally short-necked, but because they gave it a try, so as to adapt to the environmental changes, slowly, because of this stretching, their neck became stretched and they started evolving as tall animals. Okay, so this is a classic example of that it serves as a raw material for evolution and selection. Evolution and selection is a theory which was studied by Darwin. You'll be studying about it in detail in your next classes. So Darwin just studied about this, and this is just also just an example to tell you that these changes of variation also help us to get adapted to the environmental changes as well, correct? And it provides individuality to organisms. Like I said, ये Simpsons family में अगर सब एक जैसे ही लगते, या for example our family also, if we all looked exactly same, हम एक दूसरे को distinguish कैसे करते, right? So because we are having little variations, it is giving us individuality. We are becoming different from the other, right? So that is why variation is also important. Now going ahead. Now the chromosomes. We have studied about chromosomes. Guys, you should be very clear with the terms chromosome, chromatids, chromatin, DNA, RNA. If you are not, please go back to our previous lectures and go through those series of the lectures of cell division. We've discussed those terminologies in detail over there because it's very important for you to know about them, right? Now what we are seeing is types of chromosomes. So we know that we have 23 pairs of chromosomes, right? Now in those 23 pairs, there are 22 pairs which are known as autosomes, and one last pair is known as the sex chromosomes. Okay, so here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 22 tak jo hai, they are autosomes, and ये जो last pair है, that is known as the sex chromosome. Okay, sex chromosome में मेल सेक्स क्रोमोसोम, जो मेल का क्रोमोसोम रहता है 23rd वाला, that comes in the form of X and Y. That means one chromatid is X and one is Y, whereas in female it is X and X. Okay, so for women it is 2 X chromosomes ka pair which is forming the 23rd pair, and for men it is X and Y. Okay, please remember this. This is very important. Okay, so remember, male is X and Y and female is double X. So, and we have 22 pairs of autosomes and only one pair of the sex chromosomes. So basically, your 23rd pair decides your sex, your gender, right? Okay, sex determination in humans. So yes, you know, we've heard in our families, Dadi saying, Nani saying, ki whether you know, a pregnant lady is going to have a boy or a girl. Now, how do they say that? You know, they'll say that, acha, isne ye khaya, so she'll get a boy. Isne ye khaya, so she'll get a girl. Or if her characters are like this while she's pregnant, so isko ladka hoga or isko ladki hogi, right? So it's not all that. It's, you know, even before you people know that a lady is pregnant, she's going to have a boy or girl is already decided even before that, right? So whether the fetus or the embryo is going to be a male or a female is decided at the time of fertilization. At the time of fertilization, nobody even knows that the female is going to be pregnant, right? So, all those are just assumptions and misconceptions that people have. So don't believe in that. It's pure science. There is a pure science behind the gender of the baby. So yeah, what is fertilization? Fertilization is the fusion of the egg and the ovum. Now the ovum does not move, right? The sperm will travel. So the fusion of the sperm and the egg, or the sperm and the ovum, is known as fertilization, which later forms the embryo. Okay. So now at the time of fertilization, फीमेल का तो डबल एक्स है, मतलब in any situation it is x, right? And always remember, during fertilization there is only one chromosome which comes ahead, right? We have seen sister chromatids are receiving only one chromosome. We have seen this in meiosis, right? From the recombinant chromatids, sister chromatids receive only one chromosome. So during fertilization there is going to be only one chromosome from the male partner, that is the father of the child, and one chromosome from the mother of the child. Now, chromosomes of the mother are double X. That is, in any situation, mother is going to donate X, which is for sure. Correct? Mother is going to donate X. And father is X and Y. So, the gender of the baby is decided on what chromosome the father donates, whether it is the X or the Y from his pair of X and Y. Now, obviously, it is not in the control of the father as well. It's pure science that, we've seen in the sperm race, that we've seen in one ejaculation of male, there are thousands and millions of sperms that are released. So in that race of the sperms towards the ovum, which sperm reaches there and donates which chromosome, if it is the X or the Y, that decides the gender of the baby. Yes, guys, are we clear with this? Okay, now we'll see how it is decided. So here, father is having the X and Y, mother is having double X. Okay? So if, okay, now you'll understand in this chart, which is known as a Punnett Square. So the mother is having X and X, the father is having X and Y. Okay. Now suppose mother ka X or father ka X aata hai, so it will form XX. Okay, what is XX? XX is a girl, correct? Mother ka X aata hai और father ka agar Y aata hai, so it forms XY, which is a boy, a baby boy. Okay, mother ka X, father ka X, again double X, which is a girl. Mother ka X, father ka Y, which is XY, which is again a male, right? So now यहाँ पे दो बार double X आ रहा है और दो बार XY आ रहा है, मतलब चार possibilities में से we are having four possibilities, right? This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So in these permutations and combinations, we are having four possibilities. Four possibilities में हमारी दो possibilities है that it will be a boy and two possibilities are that it will be a girl. So it is 50-50% chance whether it will be a boy or whether it will be a girl. Right? Are we clear with this? अब see, मदर के दोनों क्रोमोसोम्स एक्स ही है, तो उसका कुछ भी आए, मतलब मॉम की तरफ से तो एक्स ही आ रहा है, करेक्ट? नाउ फादर की तरफ से एक्स आ रहा है या वाई आ रहा है, इज गोइंग टू डिसाइड और इज गोइंग टू टेल अस वेदर the baby will be a boy or the baby will be a girl. Yes, guys, are we clear with this? Okay, now moving ahead, it's very important to understand these basic terminologies of genetics. Otherwise, it will be actually difficult for you all to understand the later parts. So please be careful and thoroughly understand these terminologies. Now, what is a gene? We've seen gene basically is the segment of a DNA. Allele. What is a allele? Allele is copies or versions of genes. Copy जो information copy होता है ना, that is known as a allele. मतलब genes के copies are known as different alleles. Okay. Now, what is a dominant trait and what is a recessive trait? Now, for example, say if two parents have white color hair. Okay, if two parents have white color hair and the child is also having white color hair. Okay. Now that means the white color is a dominant character. Dominance means what? It stands out in front of anything else. And recessive is the opposite of dominant. मतलब वो dominant के आगे छोटा पड़ जाता है, कम पड़ जाता है. That is recessive. ठीक है? Now I'll explain you in this example. Now suppose there are two parents, mother and father, and both are having white hair. ठीक है? Both are having white hair. नाउ ब्लैक कलर, अगर हम दो कलर्स का कॉम्बिनेशन चेक कर रहे हैं व्हाइट और ब्लैक का, whether the baby will have white hair or black hair. So both the parents are having white color hair, and we are considering white to be the dominant character and black to be the recessive character. Okay, dominant character is always written in caps and the recessive character is written in small alphabets. Okay, now parent 1 का white और parent 2 का white अगर मिलता है तो white white WW आएगा साथ में. parent 1 का white और parent 2 का black आता है तो black white आएगा. करेक्ट. सिमिलरली पेरेंट 1 का ब्लैक और पेरेंट 2 का व्हाइट आता है तो व्हाइट ब्लैक आएगा. एंड पेरेंट 1 का ब्लैक विच इज अ रिसेसिव एंड पेरेंट 2 का भी ब्लैक आता है विच इज बोथ इज रिसेसिव विच इज स्मॉल b एंड स्मॉल b. नाउ व्हाट डू यू नोटिस इन दिस? वी हैव 4 पॉसिबिलिटीज अगेन, राइट? उसमें वी आर हैविंग 25% पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ ईच. 4 है और चारों अलग है. करेक्ट. When this is WW, that means it is completely white. Matlab, with this combination, the baby will also have white color hair. Now, with this combination, it is W and B. White और black दोनों आ रहा है. Alleles में white और black दोनों आ रहा है. But dominant क्या है इसमें? Capital वाला W dominant है. मतलब वो baby का color क्या होगा? It will still be white hair. Correct? Again, coming to the third one, it is BW. Again, we have a dominant character here. So, again, it will be a white hair baby. Now coming to the fourth possibility, which is small b and small b. Now this is only one possibility जहाँ पे dominant character है ही नहीं, मतलब white hair है ही नहीं. दोनों characters या दोनों alleles जो हैं are the recessive ones. So यहाँ पे because dominant character नहीं है, the recessive can act strong, and this baby, this possibility, if it is arises, then this baby will have black hair. So there is, you will say no कि how ऐसे कैसे कि both parents के eyes black है but they have a baby whose eyes are brown. So it can be with this possibility that even if both the parents have white hair, there is still a 25% chance that their baby can still have black hair, right? Got it? What is dominant and what is recessive and how the possibilities arise of the characters. Now this we've studied about the hair. So ऐसे और बहुत examples we will study in our next classes where we will be talking about the Mendel's experiment. Okay, Gregor John Mendel was the father of genetics. So we'll study what all experiments which he has studied. Okay. Now let's see other terminologies. Now, what is homozygous chromosomes? What is homozygous chromosomes? Homozygous means of the same type. Either both have to be dominant or either both have to be recessive. And heterozygous means dominant and recessive can be together. Different. Hetero means different, homo means same. So या तो दोनों dominant characters आएंगे या तो दोनों recessive आएंगे. और hetero में it can be one dominant and one recessive. Okay. Now what is phenotype? Phenotype is the physical expression of a gene. For example, eye color, skin color. Physical expression means हम जो देख सकते हैं, right? Now, if you look at me, you can look at me and you can say that the color of my eye is black or the color of my hair is black. You can just look at me and say it is just a physical expression. So the hair color, the skin color, ये सब जो characters या जो features हैं, they are forming the phenotype. Now, मेरे को देख के you all cannot tell me what is my अंदर के combination of chromatids or chromosomes, right? It is dominant or recessive. Black is dominant or brown is dominant. We don't know. So अंदर का जो हमारा chromosomes का, chromatids का जो genetic makeup रहता है, that is known as the genotype. Okay, that is known as the genotype. So genotype is the genetic makeup and phenotype is the external view that we can see of the characters. That is the physical expression of a gene. So if we have eye color as the phenotype, then uska eye color will be recessively black or dominantly white is going to be the genotype. Okay. Now, what is monohybrid cross? Mono means one. Okay. Monohybrid cross means when we are studying only about one character in a species. Now, suppose if we have taken plants as a species and we are studying about the color of the seed. So we are only going to be studying of the color. So it will be red, yellow, blue, green, whatever. That is a monohybrid cross. But अगर हम सीड का कलर और सीड का शेप दोनों चीजें साथ में स्टडी करते हैं, वी आर स्टडिंग टू कैरेक्टर्स, द कलर एंड द शेप, सो दैट condition is known as a dihybrid cross, study of two characters in a species. For example, color and shape of the seed. So it can be either red and round or yellow and wrinkled, or it can be red and wrinkled and it can be yellow and round. Correct? Are we understanding this? Yeah. So when we are studying two characters, it is a dihybrid cross. One character is the monohybrid cross. Now, please remember, these two statements are really important. You can get them in objectives. Remember that. Trait. What is trait? ये जो हम बोल रहे हैं ना यहाँ पे, skin color, eye color, ये सब जो changes हैं, features जो है हमारे, that is a trait basically. So trait is the version of character. Okay, these are characters that we are picking, right? या तो eye color, या तो skin color, या hair color. These are characters. So traits is a version of the characters, and allele is a version of the gene. Okay, trait और character लगभग एक ही बात हो जाती है, and allele और gene एक ही बात हो जाती है. Copies of genes are known as alleles. Okay, kids, are we clear with all the terminologies? Dominant, recessive, monohybrid, dihybrid, phenotype, genotype, homozygous, heterozygous, right? What is mutation? What is variation? How do we check sex determination? Remember, sex determination is always via the father. Of course, it's not in his physical control. It's all science behind it. But whether he is donating X or Y, the gender of the baby will depend on that. Okay. So are we clear with all this that we've seen? Okay. So now let's end this session. Please go back home and study about these things, read about these basic terminologies, and we will meet next class. And we'll continue with the experiments that Mendel studied about the dominant and the recessive traits. Why he called genes as factor. When Mendel was studying these experiments, the word gene was not even coined. So when he wanted to express or talk about genes, he put that as a word called factor. Okay, so he used to call it dominant factor or recessive factor. जैसे हम अभी dominant genes and recessive genes बोल रहे हैं, so he called it as a factor. Okay, so yes, please go through these terminologies very thoroughly, very nicely, and next sessions we'll be discussing about the Mendel's experiments. Okay, guys, I'll see you. Bye bye. Stay tuned, like, subscribe our channel, and keep following the videos for more and nice information. Bye bye.